Welcome back to Gut Check Time. I'm your host. This is going to be the college football playoff predictions video. Can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel. Thank you. Okay, super excited for these games. This is the most excited I've been for a college football playoff that I can remember. We're not going to see Alabama versus Clemson part 5, so that's going to be awesome. LSU versus Oklahoma. We're going to start out. Peach Bowl, Atlanta, Georgia. LSU just won the SEC championship down there. I think 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4, one of the two. LSU's favored by 14 points. Oklahoma's getting 14 points. Let's just tell you a little bit about these teams. LSU, 47.8 points per game, third in the country on offense. On defense, they're at 21.2 points per game, which is 25th in the country. And no national championship has been won by a team outside of the top 25 in defense, other than one in the past, I believe, 20 years, and that's Auburn with Cam Newton. So it took a generational talent to lead a worse than top 25 defense. And maybe Joe Burrow is that. Like I said, though, they're 25th, so they're right on that edge. But he won the Heisman, best college football player, Davey O'Brien Award, best quarterback. He won the Heisman, or he also won the AP National Player of the Year. So the Associated Press also voted for him to be the best college football player this year. They also have Grant Delpit as the Jim Thorpe Award, or Best Defensive Back, and Jamar Chase is the Biletnikoff. So that means he is the best wide receiver in college football, voted on by the press and others. In my opinion, Grant Delpit should not have been the Jim Thorpe Award winner, but guess what? His teammate should have been Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley is the best freshman in the SEC in probably the last 25 to 30 years. He's that good. He's that talented. He will be a top 5 draft pick when he declares in 2 years. I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be closer than people think. But before I get to that, let's get to Oklahoma. Oklahoma, 43.2 points per game, scoring number 6. Now, that is down from last year where they were at 48.4 points per game, and they were number 1 in the country. But what has gotten better is their defense. They were at 24.5 points per game allowed this year, which is 48th in the country. And you're saying, that's still not that great, which it isn't. It's about average. It's a little bit better than average. Whereas last year they were at 33.3 points per game, and that was 101st in the country. So terrible last year. Alex Grinch is coming from Washington State with his time there, improving that defense. That defense got better every year there. He was also at Ohio State previous to that. So he's a good defensive coordinator, knows what he's doing, and this team has improved. Strength of schedule-wise, Oklahoma's got the weakest 18th strength of schedule out of all these teams. Clemson coming in with the worst strength of schedule. We'll get to them later. LSU has the 3rd best strength of schedule in the country, which I was surprised. I thought he'd be a little bit higher, because they played a really, really tough schedule. Some news also came out about a week and a half ago. Running back Ramondre Stevenson, he is their backup for Oklahoma, suspended. Ronnie Perkins, one of their best defensive players and definitely one of their best defensive linemen, is out for this game. And Trajan Bridges, a wide receiver, is out for this game. They were all suspended. And then their safety, Darian Turner Yell, was actually hurt. He had a broken collarbone, so he's out for this game. The only 2 big losses here are Ronnie Perkins and Darian Turner Yell, because Yell has really stepped up this year, played really good, really well at safety, and Ronnie Perkins is probably their 2nd best defensive lineman behind Neville Gallimore at defensive tackle. Ramondre Stevenson is a kind of a big deal, but they have Kennedy Brooks there, and I'm sure they have other people. I haven't really scoured the depth chart on Oklahoma, but the thing is, they always recruit running backs and wide receivers very well, so I'm sure they have someone back there. Obviously, one of their co-starters is already hurt in Trey Sermon. He hurt his knee, I believe. And then Kennedy Brooks is a stud. He's averaging over 7 yards per carry again, and he isn't used that much. So if they need to use him for 30 carries in the game, I think he can provide that as long as he doesn't get hurt. Trajan Bridges, not a big deal. They are stacked at wide receiver. They have Theo Weiss, Jaden Hazelwood, and then CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be a top 10 pick in this NFL draft. And him versus Derek Stingley is going to be the matchup to watch. It's going to be a super fun matchup. Also, Theo Weiss and Jaden Hazelwood, just like I talked about. I believe Hazelwood was the best wide receiver coming out of high school, and Theo Weiss was either the 3rd or 2nd best wide receiver coming out of high school. They had one of the best wide receiving classes ever coming in. That is Oklahoma. And speaking about wide receivers, LSU is stacked. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, They're just stacked there. And they also have Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's son at tight end. But one of their most important pieces, and he kind of reminds me of, he doesn't remind me of Darren Sproles. There's been a lot of comparisons. He reminds me more of Danny Woodhead and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he's hurt. I don't know if he's going to play. They said he's going to try to play, which makes sense. It's college football play. If you're going to try, if you have any sort of minor injury, and it was, I believe he sprained his ankle about 2 weeks ago in practice. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tape him up, give him some sort of medication, pain medication, and he toughs through this game. He's that type of kid. He's always been doubted. He's short, but he's really good. He's really fast. He had one of the best spin moves I've ever seen versus Alabama. It looked like a LaDainian Tomlinson spin move. It was spectacular. This is going to be, I think, a fun game. Like I said earlier in the video, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. I'm going to take LSU to win, but I'm going to take them to win 41-30. So I'm taking Oklahoma plus 14, and I'm taking the under of 76. I think Oklahoma's motivated. LSU has been talking nothing but trash since this projection, or since this matchup has been announced. Patrick Queen, Jamar Chase have all been talking trash. Patrick Queen is an LSU linebacker. And they've been talking nothing but smack to those guys. So I think the game's going to be close up until halftime, but then I believe the talent wins over at LSU. I think they have a little bit more talent, and I believe in Joe Burrow over Jalen Hurts is what this comes down to. I don't even think the defenses are that far apart to what people are saying. They're saying Oklahoma's defense isn't that good. The Big 12 is the best offensive conference. Your defense is going to take a hit in that conference. So I do believe Oklahoma's defense will show up for the first half, but then LSU will make some adjustments with Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady on their offensive staff and be able to attack this Oklahoma defense in the second half and pull away in the end. So 41-30 LSU, like I said, take Oklahoma plus 14 and take the under 76. The Fiesta Bowl in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. It's going to be at Cardinals Stadium. I believe it actually might be in Scottsdale. I'm not sure. But it's at Cardinals Stadium. This is good. I don't know how this game is going to turn out. I don't. I have no clue. If Ohio State blew out Clemson, wouldn't shock me because Clemson really hasn't played anyone. If Clemson played Ohio State, wouldn't shock me because guess what? Ohio State's defense has not seen this type of offense the whole year. They haven't seen an NFL quarterback, a capable NFL quarterback. Maybe Jack Cohn gets drafted, which would kind of surprise me. They haven't seen wide receivers like this at all in T. Higgins, Amari Rodgers, and Justin Ross. All NFL wide receivers, all going to be in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. Two of those guys will be probably in the first day of the NFL draft, and Justin Ross and T. Higgins. Let's get to Clemson. Or Ohio State, actually, sorry. Let's get to Ohio State. 48.7 points per game. They were the number one offense in the country, just beating out LSU, and I don't know who was second. I'd have to check on that. But then their defense, 12.5 points per game allowed, third allowed in the country. And then their schedule was number one strength of schedule. They played Penn State, Wisconsin twice, and Michigan, and others like Cincinnati in that as well. And they've been tested. The thing is, they haven't been tested where they're going to be tested in this game. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to exploit some matchups down the field. And I know Ohio State has a great defensive backfield with Sean Wade, Jeffrey Okudah, and Damon Arnett. But the thing is, they have not faced, like I said, Justin Ross, T. Higgins, or Amari Rodgers type wide receivers. And when they have, like Michigan, where they have Tariq Black, Nico Collins, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, guess what? They haven't faced a quarterback that's able to get them the ball like Trevor Lawrence. Shea Patterson just isn't that guy. Trevor Lawrence is that guy. Trevor Lawrence, his last 6 games, has had 18 touchdowns and no interceptions. This guy's fantastic. He's a great player. And let's see if Ohio State can handle the deep downfield threats. And let me tell you, in the Wisconsin game, they struggled with that in the first half. And then Wisconsin kind of unloaded all their bullets in that first half and really didn't have any new play designs or new ways to attack Ohio State in the second half. And kind of, you saw the creativity was gone, and then the production went away. Clemson's creativity will not be gone. Jeff Scott, offensive coordinator, co-offensive coordinator, take the USF job. We'll have ways to attack this Ohio State team. I promise you that. Another key issue to this is Justin Fields with his knee. He said to reporters he was 80%. Was he telling the truth, or is he really 100% and he's lying to make Clemson, kind of ease back and say, good, we don't have to really protect against the run with him? Or is he really like 10%, 20%, and he can barely move, and all he can really do is drop back in the pocket and throw? And he's saying that so they kind of get in their head, oh, he's wounded, we can get to him, no problem. They kind of underestimate him. We'll see. I don't know. We'll find out during this game tonight. Clemson, 46 8.5 points per game, fourth in scoring, 10.6 points per game allowed, first in scoring. But let me tell you, they haven't played anyone. 34th strength of schedule. Where if you look at these other teams, Oklahoma has played Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Iowa State, Texas, all decent football teams. All, in my opinion, would finish second in the ACC. I think all those teams are better than Virginia, who finished second in the ACC. And we saw that yesterday. A Michigan State team who finished, I believe, sixth and eighth best team in the Big Ten beat the third best team in the ACC. The ACC is the worst conference out of all Power 5 conferences, and even throw the American Athletic Conference in there. They are better than the ACC all around. So it's really hard to tell. Obviously, Clemson's talented. You can just see that with Travis Etienne at running back, the wide receivers I mentioned, and Trevor Lawrence. And then guys like Isaiah Simmons on the defensive side of the football. They're super talented. Last year, I watched a lot of Clemson. I have not watched them this year because there's no point. I knew at the beginning of the season they were going to go undefeated. That's the only team I even predicted to go undefeated. Even if I thought you were really good, I thought you were going to lose a game. I had Alabama, who most people probably thought would go undefeated, losing a game in the beginning of the season. I didn't have Clemson because of their schedule and their talent. Their talent is so much better than everyone else in the ACC. It's unbelievable. I mean, last year, they had 4 guys go in the first, I think, 50 picks in the NFL draft on their defensive line. It's the best defensive line in the history of college football. And they don't have that this year, but they do have a little bit better secondary and a little bit better linebacking core with Isaiah Simmons and Tanner Muse leading the way there. But their defensive line isn't as good. So if Ohio State can protect Justin Fields, get the run game going, that's their advantage to me. The line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the football. They have to be able to run the football. If they cannot run the football, this game is not going to turn out well for Ohio State. Could be a blowout. Like I said, I don't know which way to go in this game. It's kind of guessing at this point. I think these are the 2 best teams in the country. About 6 to 8 weeks ago, I thought Ohio State and LSU were, but something in my head, I watched Clemson a little bit, and I think they're the best team. I really do. So I'm going to have them winning this game 31-27. So take Clemson -2. Take the under of 62.5. But let me tell you, I'm just guessing on this game. This game is going to be spectacular. I think it's going to be the best college football game other than the national championship between Alabama and Clemson with Deshaun Watson throwing that winning touchdown to Hunter Renfrow. That was the best college football playoff game. I think this will be right up there with it. I think this is going to be a spectacular game. There's pros all over the field. There's speed all over the field. There's physicality all over the field. It's going to be a really good football game. That'll do it for this video. So I have LSU winning by 11, 41-30, and of Ohio State losing to Clemson 31-27. I could be wrong on that game. LSU and Oklahoma, I could be wrong on as well, but I don't think so. I think LSU wins that game. Ohio State and Clemson, you might as well flip a coin because that's what it's going to be. Thank you for watching that video. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Thank you.